Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of UWC I Am On Air, a podcast about the life and community in UWC Mostar. And for today our topic is the Student Council in UWC Mostar. About this topic we will discuss with our special guest Anna Venin from Mauritius and Kosma Chelkowski from Poland.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us too.
So guys, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what is your personal experience as a part of a Student Council?
Okay, I can go first. Like you said, I'm Kosma. I'm a second year here at UWC Mostar, and recently I became Year 2 representative. So essentially, I'm part of the executive committee of the student body, and I'm responsible for representing student opinions, student concerns, and voicing them to the LT in case there are any concerns.
So my name is Anna, I'm from Mauritius, I'm also a second year, and my role is the same as the one of Kosma, but I did it in the previous term, so in the beginning of my term 2 till a few weeks ago I was in this role, so I was communicating between the LT and the students to make changes in the school.
Okay, thank you so much. So could you please tell us what the Student Council look like in UWC area?
The Student Council, just last week, for example, we had a meeting together. Essentially, it comprises the Year 1 representative, who this year is Angela, along with Year 2 Vice Representative Nasser, and then me as well as Year 2 Rep. And then we discuss in a group with all the commission leaders, so we have academic, Elias, for example, and then you also have MAPA in welfare, and then there's also residential committee, commission, as well as, I think, integration commission.
And you also have some unions, which are a newer part of the Student Council, which have been incorporated, some more recently than others, such as the Low Income and First Generation Students Union. You also have the People of Color Union and the LGBTQ+ Union.
Right, and we come together, basically, we talk about maybe any proposals we have, any changes we'd like to see, also if there are any concerns coming in, to be able to talk through together before, for example, we go to the LT is something very, very beneficial because we get insight from one another and we can improve as a group.
And also the goal of the Student Council is also to divide the work, so not bring every concern which is raised directly to the LT, but on the other hand, they bring it first to the commission leaders, see what they can do on their scale, and then discuss the improvements all together and then bring it to the LT after.
Exactly, that's why each commission leader has their own LT member that they go to. For example, in academic that would be Hendrik, and this essentially makes the process of communication much easier, as not everything needs to go to Sonia straight away.
Okay, so it seems that Student Council is a very important structure in our school. Could you please maybe tell us a successful story or just a positive change of a Student Council?
So one successful story that I can think of is not one which happened when I was in the position, but one which happened before, when Gabriel was Year 1 representative and Gabriela and Alvaro were Year 2 and Vice representatives. It was basically to change the Year 1 exams dates to a bit later, because before the Year 1 exams took place right after the graduation, so there was only a study leave of 2 days, and then right after the weekend of graduation and prom, people had to take their exams, and this was really emotionally challenging, but also academically challenging because you have to study right after a very long weekend where usually you don't sleep a lot, and so it was quite a successful change, I would say, because instead of having it from the 22nd of May till the 28th, the Student Council changed it to the 25th of May till the 31st, which gave students a fair amount of time, I would say, to study for their exams, which was quite beneficial because we all know that Year 1 exams are really important for us, especially for people who want to apply to the US, to have their predicted grades, which are influenced by these exams. So therefore you need to have a fair amount of time to prepare and also feel calm to do it.
Okay, so it sounds very great. And could you please also tell us how exactly are people chosen in the Student Council and how the election process look like? And if there are some certain rules and protocols what are required to be followed?
Yeah, I mean, the election is generally carried out by the election committee, where this year it's the members are Aon, a second year, and Anais, the first year. And essentially, what they do is they send out a form where it's a very democratic process, right? You get to choose your number one candidate, and then they basically look at, okay, what's the candidate with the most votes? This information is then passed on to Aon and Anais. They look through it, and based off of that, they elect the leader, and then this information is obviously sent out to the year. And yeah, there's also a constitution, so in case any amendments need to be made, for example, to the electoral process, we were even discussing it last week, this concern would have to be voiced to the LT, and we would also have to make a decision as the student body representative team together. In order to make an amendment to this constitution, obviously there are set of rules in the constitution existing right now.
Also, I think that a few concerns have been raised about the election process this year from what I've heard, meaning that some people think that having a form where you choose the one person you would prefer among sometimes a list of 15 people, for instance, for the U1 reps, as many people applied, some people said that it was maybe not the best way, so some would maybe prefer to do it by ranking or other ways to reflect more people's interest for the results.
Okay, that's interesting. So, as far as I understood, the student council works quite a lot with school staff, and more specifically with LT members, which is like leadership team in our school. Could you maybe explain to us how the collaboration with LT goes, and do you feel that it's successful? Do you feel like the LT is listening enough to you?
So first, the leadership team is made out of 6 members. So first we have Sonia, who is the head of college, Hendrik, director of studies, Velema, director of administration and finances. Then we have Haris, director of outreach and advancements, and then I have to not forget anyone. Nina, who is the college secretary. Yes. So these are the members, and Lubitsa, who is director of well-being. So these are essentially the members of the LT, and basically their role here is to represent the staff members and also to guide the students throughout their experience. So we have to communicate with them, and this communication goes through a process of bi-weekly meetings. So we meet every other week with them, and so it's not only us who discuss student concerns and share it with them, but it also goes in both ways, meaning that they also share their concerns with us, their advice, and even though communication is not always the easiest thing because views might clash between students and LT as they have different experiences, different views about things in the schools. I would say it's challenging, but it's not impossible. There have been some successful stories in the past, but I still think that we have a lot to improve for, whether that be in our connection between the LT and the students, so that both of them can understand more each other's view. Because I think that's where the problem lies, is that sometimes the LT might have troubles to understand the students, and the students sometimes have trouble to understand the LT. And that can create a lot of challenges, but I really do think that there are ways to overcome that in the future.
Wow, thank you so much, Anna, for your honest answer. And we were wondering how come that all the departments of the council, which are quite a lot of them as far as I understood, can manage to work together and can be productive even though there is quite a lot of them. And also, how can you manage to communicate effectively with the students? Like, which tool do you use? How do you use to advertise the news? How do you know which exactly opinion they do have about the certain topics?
Mm-hmm. I mean, to answer your first question, like Anna mentioned, we have these bi-weekly meetings where everyone comes together in order to discuss, and it lasts around an hour, but it can last up to 2 hours if we really think it's necessary. And these are really great because it's the perfect opportunity to voice any concerns you have, and we're also looking to find a staff representative who can also help this communication, especially to the LT, because if they understand our concerns as the student leadership team, then it's one great step in order to transmitting our feelings to the LT. Of course, as well, we're besides just students and like peers, we're good friends. Everyone in the student body. So if I have any concerns, I want to voice to the food commission. I'll go to Hashim on the weekend or something, or I'll WhatsApp him or anybody else, right? And in terms of communicating with the student body about their concerns, we have these forms, right? These concern forms that you can fill out anytime, any day, anywhere, which is, it goes to the year 1 rep, year 2 rep, and vice rep. And then these, when we go to Sonia and the rest of the LT, we talk about these to them. And yeah, that's essentially how the process works. And also, if there are any concerns that someone wouldn't want to have on the form, they're more than happy, I hope, to just come to us personally. And we're also thinking of maybe having some new methods of communication. I mean, first of all, I forgot to mention that we have a WhatsApp with student council updates, so that's the easiest way in case anybody forgets anything. You just go up there, you can look at the whole history. But who knows, maybe in the near future we'll have an Instagram account with some sort of news. Who knows, yeah.
Okay, so we are looking forward to see the Instagram account. Year 2 rep told this, so we are looking forward. Okay, so you guys mentioned a lot about the challenges what student councilor face. Could you maybe please tell us more about challenges, what are the ups and downs of the council, and how do you manage to solve them? The most important thing.
So, as I explained before, I think that for me one of the biggest challenges is the goal that we aim for is to create a good communication system between the LT and the students, and that can be very hard sometimes. For example, we had instances when there were town halls which were organized, which had the goal of having the students come and ask questions to the LT members, but that didn't always work because sometimes students didn't show up, etc. Also, we have kind of the challenge of the form. So basically, after every LT meeting, we send a report of what has been done in the meeting, but it's kind of a document which not everybody wants to read, and I mean I can understand that, but sometimes that hinders our ability to truly inform everybody of what's going on, but also their ability and freedom to respond and interact with what has been done and what they want to do based on that. I think that one thing that we could do in the future to change that is maybe change the way of communicating what has been discussed with the students in a new way, whether that be through assemblies or through emails, which are more interactive than just a simple Google document. I think that could help, but also just to improve the communication by making the LT and the students closer. So maybe trying to do a town hall again, or hosting open discussion between them, because at times as a year rep, it's hard to make one side understand the perspective of the others, but I guess that is where the challenge lies and where the growth can come from.
Oh, thank you so much. And now we come to our last question for today, and we are wondering what are the future goals of Student Council and how do you see this organization in future?
I mean, it's very cliche to say, the role of the Student Council is to bridge the gap between, the student body and the LT. But it's very true, in my opinion, the sole purpose is to represent the students, and if they have any concerns, tell them directly to the LT. That way, the LT knows what's going on with the students know what's going on with the LT. That's first and foremost. I think also, Anna mentioned the aspect of perspectives, and this is also something that I think is very important because it's sometimes hard to understand what students may be going through, and it also maybe as students might be hard to understand why the LT makes the decisions that they make. And so I think it's our responsibility as the students' representatives to communicate this, and especially when decisions are made, for example, by the LT, these decisions are thought through and they happen for a reason. So it's obviously very hard to just instantly change them as soon as one person says they want to. So in that sense, I think at least I would like the student council to really try to show the LT, okay, this is what we think, and maybe this is how many people think the same thing, and essentially put the LT in our shoes, you know. So to say, maybe we could have some sort of new type of form. Maybe we could have some sort of collaborative spreadsheet where people can add on to each other's concerns. Maybe if someone else has a personal experience relating to something, you know, someone else has had, they can add on, and maybe we can also have like signatures to see how many people are actually affected by this. That way the LT actually knows how widespread this problem is, and you know how deep-rooted it is.
And
so I'd like to change that, yeah.
And just to add on, even though I'm not part, I think that for the future, one good goal would also be to enhance the cohesion between the commission themselves, and maybe strengthen the monitoring of each commission's progress and activeness, to ensure that each commission is doing something new, and maybe, you know, give students something to look forward to. So I don't know, if Sustainability Commission or Integration Commission is organizing an event that at the beginning of each month, for example, they share their goals, and not only their goals but also their projects to do. And so we have a monitoring process to see what is actually going on in these commissions, but also in the student leadership team, so that the student body can actually have an idea of what they are doing with their concerns and their ideas. So yeah.
So thank you very much, Anna and Kosma. It was a pleasure to have you here in our lovely visual arts studio. And by the way, my name is Venin, and I was your host for today. And we are looking forward to see you in our second episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.